this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, so when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. Why do black women always call black men an incel? You see, incel is not really something that was created in the black community. For those who do not know, incel means involuntary celibate. I personally do not believe that any man is an incel, because there's always prostitutes. There's always somebody who will give you sex for little, even nothing. So the question is, are you an incel? Or is it that your standard is so high, or you have a standard under which you will not drop? Because they're two very different things. If you're somebody who on principle refuses to pay for sex, or if you're somebody who refuses to date low value, unattractive women or whatever, I mean, just for the purpose of sex. I mean, I'm not supporting casual sex. I'm not supporting using people for sex. But I'm saying in terms of the concept of being an involuntary celibate, then I don't believe it's really that possible. You have to be pretty hideous for not one single person to want to be with you sexually, or to even refuse to take money in exchange for sex. Why is it when you get into an argument? I recently watched a video where this girl was talking to a guy on the phone, and she started to shout at him and call him an incel. Let me tell you, you're an incel and I'm going to teach you something. And let me just cut straight to the chase. Black women know that the black community is matriarchal, okay? Whether they know it at the forefront of their mind consciously or not, they know that the roles are very much reversed in the black community. And because of the fact that the roles have been reversed, the black community has been completely engineered to be backwards. The woman can turn around and say, I don't want you because you're not physically attractive enough. Now, I was just listening to a live stream, and this lady was saying how dudes need to lower their standard and stop trying to approach these very attractive women. And the reality is this: everybody has to be realistic about what they can attract. Just because a very highly attractive person will sleep with you doesn't mean to say that that's the average that you can attract. Maybe that person was on the rebound. Maybe that person just wanted to get back at their ex. Maybe they just were going through a dry spell and you were the person that they turned to for a hookup. And I mean, I'm not saying that this is a good way to live. I'm not supporting it. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not condoning it. But what I am saying is, for people who engage in casual sex, that is something that you need to be mindful of, that this person is just using you to boost their ego and relieve some tension. So people assume that because they maybe have had physically attractive partners 1 or 2 times, that that's the average that they should shoot for. Okay? Now, I'm not telling anybody, and I cannot tell anybody, do not want what you want, or do not shoot for what you want. But the reality is this: for high value men, decent men who are looking for wives, they don't just look at the physical aspects of a woman. And black women, because they're in this masculine frame of mind, they often date men based on the criteria that men should date them. Or they project their feelings about what men want onto men. Like, their girlfriends tell them what looks good. And so they assume that because their girlfriends tell them, you look good in this dress, or your weave looks good, or your nails look fierce, or you look hot in that dress, or all the men will like you in this outfit, they assume that that's actually what men want. So when the guys approach them for one thing, but they're not committed, they're not serious, they're not, asking them for their hand in marriage, they say, we did all this for you. but actually you didn't do it for them at all. You did it first and foremost for yourself, and you did it because you wanted to either get validation from females or you wanted to outcompete other women. And it's a combination of all three, really, because women are always in competition with other women to be deemed the most attractive. They are more fragile when it comes to their egos. They are more competitive when it comes to romantics. So as a result of that behavior and that mindset, they're always watching other women. I mean, just be walking down the street with a man. You know, if you're a woman and you've got a man, your eyes are darting around everywhere. You see every beautiful female before even he does, because you're always comparing yourself and watching him to see if he's looking at them. And there's always this constant insecurity that at any minute the guy could leave you for somebody else. That's how a lot of women feel, but they do not actually have the courage to admit it. And when they talk about guys leaving them and playing them and cheating on them, really and truly, that's often quite a projection of how insecure they feel, or maybe even what they would do if they had the opportunity. Okay? So, but why do black women feel the need to call men incels? Really and truly, it's because they subconsciously know that the community has been engineered where the men use their looks and their sex appeal to gain a lot of sexual access. A lot of their validation in this community is derived through sex. So if you are perceived to be a man who is not getting sexual access, it's like you're labeled some kind of leper or a loser. So when you have black women out here complaining, well, where are all the good men? How come there's all these broke dusties? How come I can't find any guy on my level who wants to marry me? Or why is it that all the attractive men are bums? The reality is this is why I say to you that we create the men we complain about. Because when you have men who are productive, those men, or when you have boys, whether they're attractive or not, whether they are athletic or highly popular or not, they are not matured into masculine, stable, rounded men who can find women who are on their level. It's like the attractive ones go off in one direction and the less attractive but productive ones go in another direction. A well-rounded man has both alpha and beta tendencies. He not only has the masculine traits of being stoic, decisive, aggressive, he's not only somebody who's a leader, a provider, and a protector. On the flip side, he also possesses the feminine traits of being nurturing and kind. He's in touch with his emotions, and he knows how to connect with women and be gentle. Obviously, these are more stereotypically feminine traits, but an alpha male has the best of both worlds. Everybody has female and male attributes. Obviously, a man is supposed to have more dominant masculine traits and the woman is supposed to have more dominating female traits. But by nature, we all have both sets of traits. But obviously, when you have effeminate men who lead with their sexuality and who derive their masculinity through the validation of women and their sexual prowess, actually this becomes their Achilles heel. This becomes the area where they are weak. And when women realize that they can't make a man change his mind, they always go for the chink in the armor, which is the area of, he's not going to feel like a real man if he's not getting that sexual validation. So it becomes quite frustrating because we are the ones who complain that there's all these players and bad boys and they're sleeping around and they've got loads of kids scattered all over the place. But we are the same women who validate men based on their sex appeal and their looks. And we're also the ones who only want to date men based on superficial things or their ability to sexually satisfy. When we want to shame them, this is the area that we attack, which means a lot of black men spend a disproportionate amount of time focusing on their image and they focus on their sex appeal rather than focusing on what actually makes them not only productive men, but men who are able to compete. This is why I become very frustrated with the whole "what have you built for us" argument. Let's just say, for example, the black women who do make this argument genuinely want to know what the black men is building for the black community. When you are putting them on child support, when they have a multitude of children because they feel they need to prove their masculinity by sleeping with lots of different women, when they're out here spending money that, you know, is not going into something that's going to grow in value, they're buying things that are depreciating in value instead of, you know, living on a budget and then investing or buying things that become assets later on down the line. How do you think these guys who have a feminine mindset are actually going to be productive males building anything? They're not. They've spent the most valuable years of their life chasing women, making babies, coordinating their top with their shoes. They spent all their money on music and games and things to impress the superficial standards of the women. And as a result of that, not only are they disappointed, but they've literally just wasted their whole life and their time. So this is why women, you often hear them now using this term incel in the black community. I mean, black men are the most likely to date obese women. They're the most likely to take on women with children. Things that men of other cultures will not tolerate, black men often do. So this idea of the black incel is just erroneous, but it's just a shot that black women take at black men in order to dent them where they know it often hurts the most. The weakness that we have created in men, that's also the weakness we attack when we want to insult and shame them into doing what we want them to do. Well, that's all I've got for this one. Thanks so much for tuning in. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Like, share and subscribe. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't like the video, like it. If you didn't watch the video, like it. That's all. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.